You're listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment.
Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, telling you everything you need to know about the Saints, Pelicans, and a whole lot more.
Yo, what's up, sports family? How we doing today? It's Monday, January 8th, 2018, and this is DC. I'm the Sports Coma, you know your boy. I'm up in here hosting the day. Big Q in the building. Let me take over the controls. What's going on, Big Q?
What's happening, my man? How you doing today?
Oh, I'm wonderful, man. How can I be anything but that? Y'all seen that? Oh, man.
Big ups to the Saints, 31-26, smacking down the Carolina Panthers. A full sweep on the season, man.
A full sweep. Did you see Sean Payton get that broom? It was a full sweep, man.
Full sweep.
And let me give y'all a rundown today. You know, we're going to give you the stats, facts, all that, and everything in between. I ain't about to say all that other stuff with Q said, but you know what it is. Saints sweep the Pelicans on the year. Man, we bust them up.
Panthers.
Oh, they might as well sweep the Pelicans while they at it. Shoot, I'm tired of them 1-1. But, yeah, they sweep the Panthers on the year. 3-0, y'all. And the Times Picayune say they got some new owners. That was hilarious.
That was a good one.
31-26, that was the score for today's game. The Saints running game, we're going to talk about that. Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram. We also going to talk about Drew Brees and how he looked like Drew Brees of old. He really came alive.
Did, man.
Yeah.
He really did.
We also going to go over your boy, Keyshawn Johnson's. I ain't going to say little nephew because he tall as hell. Mike, you know you can't guard him, and he know it, so he called himself Can't Guard Me Mike.
Can't guard Mike. Big
ups.
ups.
We're going to go over the injuries, and I am not doing the injury report. What a relief. We also going to break down everything from the special teams to the defense to the offense. We're going to also go over the safety play that we've been having from Marcus Williams and Von Bell. Those
Big
guys
ups.
are excellent.
Big ups.
We're going to give our studs and duds, and we're going to also have a what segment? Would you say, Q? Big ups.
Big ups section. That's right. The segment Big Ups.
So we're going to do that as well. So without no further ado, I know y'all been waiting. Everybody salivating at the mouth. Let's talk about this game. Let me give you a few rundown of some of the stats. You had Cam Newton coming in on fire, y'all. I was a little displeased to see that. But the Saints matched it up with Drew Brees. Drew Brees threw for 376 yards passing this game, which is very, very, very critical because we ain't run for that much. We only ran for 41 yards. You had Alvin Kamara with 10 carries for 23 yards, but he got a touchdown, so that made it a little bit better. You got Mark Ingram, who got the ball 9 times for 22 yards. So Kamara with 1 more yard than Ingram. So the Panthers decided to crowd up and stop the run, but you had Mike Thomas, who went off for 131 yards. Yeah,
he showed up big time.
Yeah, no touchdowns though, man. We're having a problem getting him in the end zone.
Ted Ginn got one.
Yeah, Ted Ginn with that 80-yard reception. Ted Ginn had 115 yards on the day. He had a touchdown. You had Josh Hill get in on the action. He actually got a touchdown, y'all.
Yeah, he caught some balls.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
he did his thing. Brandon Coleman had 4 catches for 44 yards, and he had a drop that we wish he would have caught. And you had Mark Ingram for 1 reception for 13 yards. Alvin Kamara only got 1 reception for 10 yards.
Wow.
I doubt we see that next week.
Yeah, that's surprising now.
Zach Line also got in on the action. I believe he had a touchdown run on the goal line for 1 yard. And he also had 1 reception for 7 yards. And Willie Snead finally made a catch. Look at you, Willie, at you. But let's go on and talk about this defense. Stellar play from Von Bell. Showed up as usual. It seems like he leads the team in tackles every game, which I'm not too ecstatic about. And you got Marcus Williams showing up right behind him with 8 tackles. Von Bell had 9. I forgot to mention that. And he had the game-ending sack as well. Ken Crawley had 7 tackles and a bunch of other receptions on him. Tyler Davison had 6 tackles. Wow, man, he showed up.
Yeah, you did.
He had a tackle for a loss. And he also had a sack. You had Sheldon Rankins come in and do his thing. He had 5 tackles, 4 of them solo. Big dude. Almost got the sack on Cam, but couldn't quite get that foot. Then you had Manti Te'o get 5 tackles. Craig Robertson also got 5 tackles. Cam Jordan. Big Cam Jordan, man. Oh, that Cam was loping, idling, and rocking the day, man. And a bunch of horsepower. He had 3 tackles with a sack, 2 pass deflections, and a tackle for a loss. But it should be maybe two sacks, at least a sack and a half. He was in on the game-ending sack with Von Bell and a whole bunch of other plays. He really caused havoc for Cam Newton. Jonathan Feeney had 3 tackles. You had Greg George with 3. Marshawn Lattimore had 2. And you had Zach Wood with 1. Justin Hardy made a key tackle on special teams. I remember that 1 tackle. P.J. Williams, is hard for me to believe he only had 1 tackle with all the passes I saw through his way for completions. And you had Trey Hendrickson with 1 tackle. Alvin Kamara actually got a tackle. Go figure.
Yeah.
David Onyemata with probably the biggest tackle of his life and of the game. Knocked Cam Newton out. It was ridiculous.
Not exactly out, but he came back some kind of
Oh, he was out. They let him stay in. But I'm looking for the total yards here, you guys. You're going to have to work with me for a second. I ain't quite used to this, but I think I can handle it. But we got the total yards from the Saints with 401, I believe. What is the total yards? There we go. We got the Saints with a total yardage of 410. I'm sorry, guys. The Carolina had 413 total yards. The time of possession was given to Carolina. They actually accomplished that. That was a big goal for them, but they still lost. 33 minutes from Carolina and 26 from the Saints. The turnover battle was won by Carolina. Only 1 turnover in the game. It was us, but it was more like a punt, so it worked in our favor. Carolina had 24 first downs to our 21. And hold on a second. And the total plays for the game was 71 plays to 56. Q, you do that rundown a lot better than I do. But after we got all that out the way, so what do you think the most important point or game-changing moment in this game was, and why?
Well, considering the play, they had a lot of really great play by the fact that I think Drew Brees, if I have to kind of nestle it down, I would have to say Drew Brees was probably one of the most important factors in this game. 23 of 33 for 376 yards, 2 touchdowns, and really that pick didn't count. You know, that was kind of last-minute throw in that. I wouldn't even much consider that. But he was fantastic. He was every bit the Drew Brees of old that we are accustomed to seeing. Of course, the Carolina Panthers, credit be to their defense, basically shut the Saints down running the ball.
Yeah, they
so 22 carries, 41 yards, although we got 2 touchdowns, 1 from Zach Line. Alvin Kamara had 1. But as far as the running game being a factor in this game, it was completely shut down. 22 carries for 41 yards. Drew Brees kind of reawoken and discovered his wide receivers again. Yeah, finding Mike Thomas for 8 catches, 131 yards, despite the fact that he threw to Mike Thomas 9 times. Can't guard Mike, caught 8 of them. Then you had Ted Ginn with the breakout touchdown, which really took the top off the defense and kind of allowed things to flow a little better. Josh Hill actually caught the ball this time and was a factor in the game. So I have to contribute a lot of the Saints' success in the game-changing play to Drew Brees, who really woken up.
And what play would you say that was, my man?
The one that really kind of separated the game, I have to give it to the Ted Ginn touchdown when he broke out and threw the deep ball. And then after that, the Saints perpetually kept rolling downhill and was scoring pretty easily and kind of had Carolina on their heels.
I agree with that. The Ted Ginn touchdown to me was the game-changing play. There was also another play that signified I guess what this game was to me and how bad they wanted it. There was a play, I don't remember what down it was, but it was Cam Jordan. He actually blew past the offensive tackle and kind of pushed him in to Cam Newton almost. And this is the first time I've ever seen this. He didn't push the lineman to make contact with Cam Newton, but as the lineman got there and he got past him, he basically tackled Cam Newton with a stiff arm.
Yeah.
At that point in the game, I knew that no matter what happened, Cam Jordan would not let us lose the game from the defensive side of the ball. Pretty amazing game from him in the form of impact and what it meant to the rest of the players on the team. So I was very proud of our defense, not yardage-wise. I think we made a lot of mistakes, but just in the ability to bend, but what, Q?
Not break, which I hate that term. I mean, I hated that term since they had Gary Gibbs down here as defensive coordinator with the bend don't break mantra.
That's exactly what we did, though, man. We bent, but we didn't break.
Yes, indeed.
So that's the third game that we played the Panthers, and I mean, we basically swept them on the year, man. Did you think that this was possible, and is this the type of game that you anticipated? Because I know so. I called it last week. I said it was going to be 31-27.
I think so. You said 31-27?
I called 31-27.
That's amazing, man. I said 28-24.
It was close.
I thought I got you. But anyway, yeah, I did. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought the Saints would come into this game, and I anticipated they'd do just what they've been doing, the Carolina Panthers. A lot of people say it's difficult to beat a team 3 times in a row in the season. Not necessarily. If you dominated them like the Saints pretty much dominated Carolina, you were in their head.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's pretty much what the outcome was pretty much the same, except Carolina neutralized the running game as opposed to what the Saints had accumulated 140-plus yards on the ground in both those previous contests. This time around, Carolina fixated on stopping the run, thinking that would stifle the Saints. They didn't count on Drew Brees beating them. So a lot of people getting fooled because of the Saints are running the ball so effectively that they're forgetting that we have a Hall of Fame quarterback who still control the ball. And Drew went back and he drew 376 yards and 2 scores on this team.
Amazing,
so, I mean, he really showed up. Big ups to Drew Brees for that.
I don't think they really are forgetting Drew Brees. I think they think that we're running the ball because we're trying to cover up for the deficiencies of a 38-year-old quarterback. Pretty much the way that the Broncos did on their playoff run. I really think people believe that. So Carolina decided to put 8 in the box for maybe 60% of the game. Man, every time I saw them, they had 8, 9 in the box. I mean, what do you think they're going to do? You try to run the ball. Guys are getting in the backfield. I can't really be mad at Kamara and Ingram too much because when they're getting the ball, they had somebody in the backfield already. I mean, even Barry Sanders can't do much with that. So
that's true.
You know, a lot of plays were blown up soon as you hiked the ball, so you had no choice at this point but to give Drew Brees the ball. But I feel like it is difficult to sweep a team 3 times, man, because you got to understand that it's a division game and a playoff game. So you're going to see this team's best shots. There are plays that you haven't seen all year that they've been holding for this moment, different sets, formations, looks like we haven't seen Carolina crowd the line like that against us when we played them the first 2 times. Totally different look. So, given the circumstances, I think the Saints did what they could do, and the best possible outcome was a W in our favor. And we changed identities as well. We went back to that 2013 team when we had Jimmy Graham. That almost looked like the same thing to me.
Yeah.
Just minus Mike. Instead of having Jimmy Graham, we had Mike Thomas. So I mean, it's pretty similar.
Yeah, and Mike Thomas, man, he, like I said, he put on a hell of a game, man, against this team in the playoffs. 8 catches, 131, and this guy continues to be a spectacular option. And I just thank God for having a guy like Mike Thomas in the game. So.
Yeah, so that's a blessing, man. Can't guard me, Mike. Definitely, that 131 receiving yards, 8 catches, man. This got to be the best 2-year receiver I've ever seen in my life. Nothing is too big for this guy. Nothing shocks him. Nothing stops him. I'm wondering how he's going to hold up against Xavier Rhodes. This is going to be a real good test for the Saints coming up against the Vikings. Well, y'all hear the music. Y'all know what time it is. We got to pay some bills. We about to go do our thing. And I'm going to give me some hot tea. And y'all can listen to these wonderful commercials. This Big Q and the guys in DC. Because ain't no more guys. We'll see y'all on the other side of the break.
What's up, sports world? It's Big Q from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Talking to you about the website, theposhlifestyle.com. That's right, poshlifestyle.com. A great website where you can get great products at great prices. They sell organic herbs, vitamins, supplements, water filters for your home, EMF and cell phone radiation protection, healing magnetics and healing crystals, personal protection devices like cell phones, stun guns, and mace spray, organic deodorants, shampoos, soaps, toothpaste, and more. They also sell 10A grade Brazilian hair. 10A music is available now. All kind of the latest downloadable mixtapes. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to theposhlifestyle.com. That's the Posh Lifestyle, life spelled with a Y, LYFE, style.com. Put in the Sports Coma for the 10% discount on your purchase. It's a win-win. So get your mind and body right with the Posh Lifestyle.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans Eye View, the new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelicans.
Attention, everyone.
Get breakdown on games, free agent signings, and potential moves. Unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from G Valley. Go to www.thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
Wow, what a huge honor it is to be named NBA 2K18 Legend Edition cover athlete. I really wouldn't be here without the guidance, love, and support of my mom and dad. Also, I'd like to thank my coaches, both college and professional. But most of all, I'd like to thank Kobe Bryant. He was the NBA 2K Legend cover athlete first. He's so awesome and handsome and has really nice natural teeth. Wait, what? I'll be looking at his teeth. This ain't over, Kobe. Payback's gonna be fun.
Let me tell you about a news site that carries the news that you would want to know. News that's not the same as the rest of lamestream media, but a site that lets you know about the most important news on health, economics, tech, entertainment, science, food, sports, world news, positive living, paradigm shift, and a lot more. Go to theposhreportonline.co. That's right, theposhreportonline.co. Learn more. And remember, challenge everything.
Follow the Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody. We're gonna give y'all a little interview.
You know, he likes pressure. He likes dissecting. I'm pretty sure he doesn't like
talk about his
ball up, but that's what we have to do to win games. But when he's able to be back there and dissect you, he takes a lot of pride.
The last first down that you guys picked up at a game where I think Drew threw a back shoulder throw to you to pick up that first down. It seemed like that's a play he had a lot of trust in you.
Yeah, you got to have it. My team needed me. It was third down. We emphasized third down all year. It's been a conversation how our numbers were low, and you know, best way for me to respond is not like to talk about it, to say I'm going to do this or do that. It's to put it on when the stage is right there in front of me, make the play, and that's what I did, and that's what I want. That's what I like doing.
Is that something from practice reps? Because there was that catch, and then there was another catch near the end zone where it seemed like you only had a couple inches of space, and you guys still made it happen.
Just great coaching. We work on our hands every day. CJ's on us, catching balls, catching all types of balls, back shoulders, low balls, bad balls, over the shoulder, all that. So we take a lot of pride in that, and when we get a chance to show that on Sundays, that's what we want to do. We live for that.
It seems like the ball had to be like right on point for you too. Right?
Yeah, if Drew puts it in the air, he's not making too many bad decisions, so you got to finish it for him.
Like in that fourth quarter, you end up with the back shoulder catch, you end up with the rollout catch from Drew. How much are you looking forward to being in those situations to where you come through?
I love it. That's what I feel like they brought me in here to do, and that's what I take a lot of pride in. And it starts in a week of preparation, like Coach said. Like on that Thursday practice, no balls hit the ground, but that was on us. And you take those type of steps and you bring them to Sunday and put on the show.
Mike, you mind taking me through the the 80-yard touchdown pass to Ted Ginn right after the missed field goal. It sounded like you might have been the primary target, but he was able to.
Yeah, so that route is all about being disciplined and getting your depth. So I ran my route, I pushed for my depth, and they saw the play, they saw the deep end, and they kind of all tried to collision on that, knowing that. But with a guy like Ted right there, he's not really a decoy. If he gets behind you, he's gone, and they let him get behind him, and he did the rest.
Do you take pride in that? Because you did the same thing against Atlanta. Your presence opens up them.
Yeah, I mean, you have to take pride in that. That's how you win games. That's how you put points on the board. And, that's how we take that next step and we become that top offense, or we play and, we move on to the next round. Those type of plays right there is why we advance. It's not, always the individual or the great stats. It's sometimes you got to help other people.
Are you surprised at all that they would sell out as much as they did against Iran when they got you, Drew Brees, right there?
Yeah, I mean, they did what they did. That's on them and their coaches. We took our coaching and we applied it, and took what we did this week and we applied it and came out with the W, and that's all we can talk about and worry about. We can't really worry about what they did.
I know they really wanted to take away Alvin and Mark, but did you feel at all like they were kind of testing Breeze to beat them on his own, or at least with some different weapons out there?
You can't really test Breeze. Breeze is, he likes pressure. He likes dissecting. I'm pretty sure he doesn't like always handing that ball off, but that's what we have to do to win games. But when he's able to be back there and dissect you, he takes a lot of pride in that.
You heard it from Can't Guard Mike. That's what I'm gonna call him now. 'Cause I ain't seen nobody stop him yet. I'm gonna use his Twitter handle all the time, man. You get that respect from me, bruh. So as you can see, he said making big plays is what he likes to do. Amazing, man, amazing, wonderful game from that dude. But let's go ahead and move on and get into some of this talk about the running game, man. It's bittersweet. We had a 31-26 victory, but 41 yards rushing, and a lot of errors on defense we're going to have to clean up if we want to win this game against Minnesota. So, Big Q, what do you think we can do to improve our running prowess against a better defense in the Minnesota Vikings after seeing us be stymied by the Panthers?
Oh, man, that's a tough one, because you move from a team like Carolina that's pretty good against the run, but you could actually run on them. And the thing about the Carolina matchup was the fact that they actually lost one of their big defensive tackles in the middle there. Lost him, and then they had to put in a reserve tackle, and they still was stout against the run. So it was Minnesota's a different animal altogether. They're difficult to run on. They're difficult to pass against, but you got to figure a way to do it. I mean, the play action game is something that is what a analyst would pretty much say. Well, the Saints got to get that play action going, right. And the best way you get that play action going is that you're gonna have to open up some holes, and that's fairly complicated for the loss of Andrews Pete with that broken fibula.
Calamante looked pretty decent.
He did look decent in that game, and I got to give it to CO, because CO's been that guy the entire season, is that he's able to come in and do it. But losing Andrews Pete with that broken fibula and hit the role that he played during out the season, how how impressively diverse and this guy has been this entire season, it's a huge loss. But CO is capable of coming and helping them. But but the play against Minnesota with that up front defensive line, man, like I said, they're just some monsters. They don't let you run against them. You barely could pass against them. The Saints just going by sheer force of will, it's just going to have to make it happen. That's just bottom line, mano y mano. They're going to have to dominate the defensive line against Minnesota, and they're going to have to run the ball. And they're going to have to get Alvin Kamara more involved than what he was before. He had one reception in this game. They're going to have to switch that up. They're going to have to try to get him more involved and definitely get Mark Ingram more carries than he had this previous game against Carolina.
I totally agree with all your sentiments, and I would say the Saints have one thing going in their favor, as opposed to what you saw from the Panthers, which they had plenty of time to study us, man. I mean, they had 3 games. They game planned against us 3 times. They were successful once. With Minnesota, they've played us, so they've game planned against us. But the team that they game planned against in week 2, is not the team we are today. So I still believe against a Minnesota team, we have the element of surprise from an offensive standpoint. And our offense is just as good as their defense. Defense wins championships, but we got to go in there and look to do the inevitable and actually topple their defense. But our defense is also just as good as their offense. So their offense is probably, I'm guessing, the top 12 offense. It's about where our defense is. So we're an evenly matched team, man. This is going to be a battle of the ages. And we're going to see how the Zebras do it, too, because I think they're going to have an influence on this game, man. It's going to be a real tough game. And I think to get the running game going, we may have to be open-minded. We're going to have to go out there and see what they're giving us. And maybe we pass to open up the run. Because after seeing what Drew Brees did, I do not think the Minnesota Vikings are going to just sit back and let him torch them in the hopes of him messing up, which he does not do in the playoffs. So maybe we use the passing game to open up the run game. That could be a very, very possible solution. But Alvin Kamara getting 10 touches and 23 yards, and Mark Ingram with 10 touches and only 22 yards. I just realistically can't see that continue to happen. I think Carolina just had our number this game in the run department. And I also think Sean Payton did his typical Sean Payton thing where he kind of gets cute and, you know, just totally throws everything out and gives you a whole new look. Like that play with Tommy Lee that I hated. Yeah, he balled that one up, throw it away, Sean Payton. But other than that, I like what I saw from the coach. And a little leery about that 4th down and 2 call. Part of me says, I like it. The second part of me says, what are you doing?
He gambled. He went. The word is he went to Drew on it, and asked Drew if it was a play that he liked. Right. It was 4th and 2. I would have basically, if not, went with the quarterback sneak or give Mark Ingram the ball with Zach Line, a old power wide formation type of look. Zach Line's been blocking really well for half the portion of the season when they brought him in here. He's a solid fullback.
It's kind of hard to get 2 yards when your top run was 5 yards all day. So
that's true, but
I can't necessarily say I would have wanted him to run the ball.
I still do trust in the fact that the Saints should be able to, that they could get that 2 yards if they run to the side with Larry Warford and Max Unger's side and Warford's side. I knew they could have get that 2 yards. You know, and with Zach Line and Mark Ingram there, I know they can get that 2 yards, but they decided to try to pass it for whatever reason. I would have probably taken a run there, but we know this is where the muffins are, where the money's made, and teams are here. They really it's high risk, a big reward here at this point. So
I like the fact that they tried to pass it because it worked out in their favor, and if you get an interception, it's just like having a punt, which actually, thank you, dumb Panthers player, whatever your name was. You get an interception, you throw the ball up there and give your guy a shot, and if they pick it off, it's just like a punt. And they weren't smart enough to bat it down, so it all worked out. But what I really like about it, some people say going for it on 4th and 2 shows a lack in the ability of the defense. I think it's actually the opposite. If you would have tried to pin the ball, I guess, let's say on the 1, in hopes that Carolina couldn't score, that to me would show more of a lack of trust in the defense than actually going for it, risking getting nothing and having them start on the 50. So I think Sean Payton is in championship mode, man, when he gambles, and he has the complete trust and faith of his whole team. And I think us playing as a team like that, we're very, very difficult to beat, man. With that type of confidence and the type of swagger that they're playing, a lot of things I would see on a normal team, such as the celebrations that we had at this game, I think this is a positive thing for this squad. And I think this is what we need to win. So that's my take on that. But you know what that music mean, yo. Got to pay them bills. So we're going to get this interview from Sean Payton when we come back, and he'll tell you why he went for it on 4th and 2. This Big Q and the guy, DC. We'll see y'all on the other side of the break.
Forget ESPN or Fox.
Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
In today's world, children are bombarded with negativity on television, online, and at school. Our kids need to have a positive outlook on life and the world around them. I want to share with you a valuable resource you can use to bring positivity into your child's life. It's the new book, 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. This is a simple guide loaded with wonderful and inspirational affirmations designed to uplift young people's spirits. This positive and powerful children affirmational is chock full and loaded with wonderful inspirational sayings that will lift your child's self-image to whole new levels through the awesome power of spoken word. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad G.J. Barabino. Available on Amazon. Order a copy for yourself, your child's teachers, or anyone you know with children. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image. Order your copy today.
Thank you for listening to the Pro Media Network, who provides hours and hours of free edutainment to you and yours. If you are benefiting positively from our content, please donate to help us grow our platform by going to www.patreon.com/the Network. That's www.patreon.com/the Network, and support the true independent artists.
Check out the Crown They Ass World podcast with three kings covering all the news and issues that affect you and the ones you care about, only on the PRO Media Network.
Hello, New Orleans. You're listening to the Sports Coma, your new #1 podcast on everything Saints, Pelicans, and a lot more. And now, here's your host, Big Q and the guys.
Say, lady, why you lying? It's DC. DC, get my name right, baby. Yeah, I'm back, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and talk about a living legend known as number 9. I ain't talking about Rondo. I'm talking about Drew Air Brees. Yeah, that's right. He was blowing that football all over the Superdome. Doing his thing from the left to the right, especially in the middle. He was 11 for 12 in the middle of the field. Perfect. Perfecto. Perfection. -1. Drew Brees did his thing, y'all. So I'm trying to get the technical support team to go ahead and line up this interview so we can hear our man talk about his special day. And with no further ado, here's your man, Drew Brees.
Yeah, Josh played great. Came up with some big catches. Obviously came up with the touchdown catch as well. Just to keep that momentum going there in the first half. Yeah. Josh Hill's one of those guys that's just as steady as can be, and does such a great job with his role. There's some games where, we're asking him, to block that D gap or, be really effective in protection, great in the run game, and then obviously, might have some opportunities in the pass game, might not. Just kind of have to wait and see how it plays out. But, he's a very good receiver. Came up with a big catch in that 2-minute drive as well. Josh and I have had a lot of time together, and so there's a great rapport there. There's a great understanding, and that was a pass play where, kind of a tight window to put that ball, and yet he knows exactly where it's coming, and he's able to come up with a big catch that keeps that drive going, and we end up getting 7 points on that one as well. Oh, listen, that was huge. That was huge. Because they stop us on the first two drives, and then for us to come up with that big play, I think it just kind of blew the whole thing wide open. I think it broke the seal for us offensively, and obviously got the crowd rolling. Hey, find your matchups and let's go make some plays, and that's what we were able to do. He said, "You want to go for it or punt?" I said, you got a play you like? He said, yeah. I said, let's go for it. So, in the discussion. Say that one more time. I'm sorry. The way they contain the running game. Run, yeah. Put more of a burden on you. Do you enjoy that challenge, particularly given the magnitude of the stakes in this game? Yeah, I mean, listen, sure. If a team's going to do that, then obviously, you know, I feel like with the matchups we have outside that there should be opportunities, and you know, you still have to have a level of patience, but take advantage of them when they do come around. So. I think what we've shown offensively is that we have a lot of ways to be effective, a lot of weapons to spread the ball around. You know, really, all the receivers did a great job today. You know, Brandon Coleman caught a bunch of passes in some critical situations. Obviously, Mike and Teddy, but you know, that whole group. Willie came up with a big one. You know, the ball was spread around quite a bit, but guys were making plays when they had the chances. Listen, you know, when you play a team 3 times and they're a divisional opponent, you know that there's going to be, you know, adjustments made, and so in a lot of cases, you just have to wait till you get to game day. You know, you prepare yourself, you put all the tools in your toolbox, and then you wait to get to the job, and then you figure out, all right, well, these are the tools we're going to need to get this job done.
What were you thinking when you left the field after the interception? You know, obviously, gave Carolina some decent field position, and defense came out and saved the day, essentially.
They did a great job. Yeah, I mean, it's 4th down, you know, so you're going to throw the ball up and give your guys a chance. Actually, Glady intercepted it and gave them, you know, pushed them about 20, 25 yards back. So it actually worked out to our advantage.
Are you thinking that as you're rolling?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's don't throw a pick that they can return for a touchdown, but, you know, if there's guys in a bunch, hey, maybe you get a PI, maybe your guy goes up and makes the play.
But it worked out.
That's
you
a
see
ball
the
that has
mind
to be
frame
thrown.
that he had. Man, I don't think we could have won this game without this guy. And he had a pretty amazing game. When I first saw them come out and they were passing the ball, it's like, oh my goodness, we gonna lose. And it worked out. It worked out. I'm glad I wasn't the head coach, because I definitely would have kept trying to force feed Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram. So maybe Sean Payton does know a lot more than me. So shout out to Drew Brees and Sean Payton. What do you think about this legendary game that Drew Brees had, Big Q?
He like I said, he was a terrific. He showed up when he was supposed to. Almost 400 yards passing. He did what Drew Brees is supposed to do. He turned it up big time. He talked about that interception in that last interview about just throwing it up there. It was a crowd of guys, and throwing it up there, giving your guys an opportunity to make a play. I can understand that. You know, in essence, that interception didn't really impact the Saints in a really terrible negative fashion. In essence, it was like a mini punt, to be honest with you. It kind of act like a little mini punt where the Saints were able to put Carolina on that side of the field, as opposed to them picking up the ball where they were, which is at midfield, which could have been a different effect altogether. But I think a lot of the stuff that deal with Drew is this next game coming up with Minnesota. His playoff experience and his experience overall is going to be paramount with the Saints' new discovered running game, which we couldn't count on this first game. You look at what Minnesota's bringing to the table from the defensive standpoint, why I have said in a previous show that we should be leery of facing Minnesota, because Minnesota's a team that is one of the top defensive, if not the top defensive team in the NFL. They're probably the best,
less injured team in the NFL.
They are a dangerous team defensively. If you look at their defensive statistics, and I don't really want to start previewing the Minnesota game. I'm just giving you the statistics on it, because that'll be in a next show. But from a standpoint of with them, they average less than 16 points, give up less than 16 points a game on that defensively. 15.8 to be precise. That's best in the NFL. They allow you to pass for 194 yards. You might as well say 192 yards a game. That's second in the NFL. They allow you to rush 83, might as well say 84 yards a game. That's second in the NFL.
I wonder who that was second to, as far as the passing yards. Gotta be the Jacksonville.
Jacksonville and Minnesota's pretty tough defensive teams, but man,
very young defenses, both of them.
Right, so they're gonna be there for a minute. So the route, the route to get to Minnesota, to the Super Bowl to Minnesota, this is a difficult route compared to what our compatriots or enemies, or however you want to look at them, the Falcons have going through Philadelphia. Yeah. So I mean, but this is going to be
we rooting for them now.
But I like I told you, that was my perspective. That was my perspective the whole way there, is that I would like to see the Saints have an NFC Championship game. The only way that happens is if we root for Atlanta to take care of business against Philadelphia, and we take care of business against Minnesota, and then we'll face them in the NFC Championship game that'll be in the Superdome. So we can have another playoff game, and that's what I was shooting for.
I still hope they lose. But I think they'll win.
Then you would have to go to Philly.
To my chagrin. Hey, I don't mind it, man. Give us a chance to exercise that run game before the Super Bowl. So let's go ahead and move on, y'all. We got Big Q gonna be coming up in the next segment with the injury report. How weird that sound?
Yeah, that's weird. That's usually DC's thing. I guess we're advocating his responsibilities as bringing us the injury report. So.
But before we do that, I want to talk about the defense. I want to talk about the Saints defense. Enough praise and I guess non-accolades has been given to the run game. So the Saints defense, to me, we definitely didn't show up to our full potential. Going in against a Minnesota team, pretty similar offense, don't you think, with the Panthers? And we can't show up in the same manner.
They're a little bit more prolific in terms of passing the ball. Cam Newton averages usually less than 200 yards a game, which is the bottom 3 in the NFL. At Minnesota, they're 11th ranked when it comes down to total offense. 357 yards a game, that's good for 11th. They average about 24 points a game, that's good for 10th. Which that's not exceptional numbers because the Saints do way better than that, of course.
Right.
But they're still a very much balanced team. 235 yards a game, passing the ball, good for 11th. And they're a better rushing team than they are a passing team, 122 on the ground with Murray at the helm. That's 7th in the NFL, so they're a difficult
against
team.
the Panthers, we had both of our leading tacklers be our safeties. And I can tell you, family,
into the third level.
We went over this last week. That's not a good sign. When your safeties are getting all the tackles, that means the defense is easily making it past your first and second line of defense. Just think about it like this. If you had a screen door and a middle door and a lock door, the screen door open, the middle door open, and they're going straight to the lock door. Luckily, the safeties were able to hold them off. So, other than Cam Jordan, I mean, I don't think we had a lot of positive aspects to look at for our defense other than in the red zone when they would come alive and play. Any suggestions on anything we could do differently to stymie, I guess, our next opponent, or to clean up, as Sean Payton likes to say, some of these defensive miscues?
I think a portion of our defensive miscues, just being more assertive, being more attention to detail orientated. And I think that's the thing that's really hurt this team is, making a tackle when you're supposed to make a tackle, winning your individual matchups. That's key, because this game will be the biggest test of the playoffs prior to the Super Bowl, perhaps, for the Saints, because Minnesota will be a good tune-up game for who you will face, if you're privileged enough to make it to the Super Bowl, because more than likely, you're going to face either Pittsburgh or Jacksonville on that side of the thing. So it's going to be tough, man. So, they can get it going against Minnesota, but they're just attention to detail.
Well, you heard the man. I'll give you guys my assessment on the other side of the break. Look how Caleb said. You always talk before me. But we got some bills to pay, y'all. So this is the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
I'm a Saints and Pelicans fan, so the only podcast I can get my fix is the Sports Coma with Big Q. The guy's intense, funny, and they always keep it real.
Check out the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Clear, clean, great-tasting filtered water. We're all thirsty for it. But in the U.S. alone, an estimated 2.5 million plastic bottles are added to the environment each year in search of the perfect drink of water. There has to be a better solution, and there is. Crystal Quest, a leader in the manufacturing of water filtration technology, has been providing clean, drinkable water for 20 years. Crystal Quest has been recognized by such leaders as Consumers Digest, Dr. Oz, and Colin Ingram's The Water Drinking Book, offering our customers the cleanest and most environmental-friendly drinking water at a rating of high purity. With Crystal Quest's water filtration technology, you can rest assured that your water will be crystal clear. Contact our network of authorized distributors and join our thousands of satisfied customers.
Just log into theposhlifestyle.com. Once again, that is theposhlifestyle.com.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans Argue. The new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelicans. Attention, everyone. Get breakdown on games, free agent signings, and potential moves. Unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from G Valley. Go to www.thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
Follow the Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Best fucking sports podcast in the country.
I appreciate all that, brother, man. He ain't get the memo neither. It's DC. It's DC today, y'all. Come on, man, get it right. Somebody, hey, engineers, it's DC hosting the show today, all right? All right, y'all. Sports Coma with DC and Big Q. Show 130. Giving y'all this breakdown of the Saints defense. Well, my assessment of the defense was, I ain't gonna say we played horrible. I think we played wonderful because we went and we took the game at the end of the game when it mattered most. But I just feel like we had a lack of adjusting on the fly. When Cam Newton went to the no huddle, man, we just looked atrocious from this point. We looked a little bit better when they removed Ken Crawley from off of number 12. I don't remember that guy's name. That should have been done a lot earlier in the game. But then they put him on Greg Olsen, and he just started to roast him. So, moving forward, man, I think we really got to look at tape and look at our individual matchups. I think it's a lot of times we get put in situations where we have guys that are just not able to handle their business in their individual matchups. We like to play a lot of man. We play zone. We do pretty good. We get beaten some of the zone plays too. But P.J. Williams, man, and Ken Crawley would definitely. I guess we could go into the studs and duds segment right now before, and then we're gonna give y'all the injury report. So, man, I'll say my stud for me. I'm gonna give you Al Breeze. I know you're gonna go ahead and get him. To me, the stud for me was Cam Jordan.
Yeah. Big ups to Cam.
Without that guy, I don't think we could have won this game, man. And my dud would have to be. It's a toss up. Oh, man. Who am I going to give it to? PJ, man.
PJ gets the dud.
PJ gets the dud. Ken Crawley prevented a few touchdowns, and he made some plays. He had 7 tackles. He was out there, a lot of effort. PJ to me, man, I'm almost begging for Sterling Moore to start. So what's your studs and duds, Big Q?
I like my studs on the night, of course, would be the mighty Drew Brees, 23 of 33 for 376 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had that ill-time pick, which I don't think that affected him. Basically, it was a punt. If you look at it, he did without Drew Brees' contribution, the Saints would have, of course, got this win. He turned it on when the Panthers were able to neutralize the Saints running the game. He lit up Michael Thomas and Ted Ginn and Josh Hill, got those guys going. So Drew is my stud of the game. My dud of the game is a wide receiver by the name, a 6'6" guy by the name of Brandon Coleman. Though Brandon did catch 4 catches for 44 yards, he had an ill-timed fumble. The ball was punched out. And he also had he was targeted 5 times. Another one of those catches was a catch that he could have made that could have really helped the Saints. It went right between his hands. Some people say it was a bad catch. If you go back and look at the tape,
throw.
Yeah, bad throw.
I say
the man dropped that
It
Brandon
was a
Coleman.
ridiculously high throw.
But Brandon Coleman is 6'6". He put
yeah.
both his hands up there. He could have caught the ball. Maybe I'm being a little hard on him.
I think he was scared of that lick that was going to come after it.
That's true, but he just, to me, I give Brandon a dud. It's kind of a weak dud, but I continue to rate hard on Brandon Coleman because Brandon Coleman's 6'6". He plays smaller than that.
High,
He doesn't play 6'6". He plays a lot smaller than his size indicates, and he'll be my dud for this game.
I think you're being hard on Brandon, man.
I
playoff game, he had four receptions,
but I'm being
44 yards.
44 yards and a drop.
Came a long way, man.
A fumble that could have really hurt.
I remember when he used to have 3 drops a game. He came a long, long way. But that's our studs and duds segment. I guess I understand. But hey, Big Q, we need to see what's up with this injury report because we got a lot of guys hurt.
Well, this is the injury report.
What other soldier we lost this week?
Well, this is the injury report brought to you by PoshLifestyle.com. This is also DC's favorite segment of the show. He's advocated his responsibility because he has host duties. But the only injury I can report to is the injury a lot of people are concerned about is the Andrews Pete injury. He was carted off the field after a player fell across his back leg. He has a broken fibula, and they expected him to pretty much miss the rest of the playoff series. So it's a tough blow to have that to happen with him. He was blocking on Elvin Kamara, and a player whipped across his leg, and it's a terrible thing. But it's a broken fibula, and C.O. Calamente will be looked upon to be the guy to go against Minnesota. Plenty of practice, plenty of game snaps for him.
So I think we'll be all right. I definitely don't see it as an improvement. Shout out to Big Ups.
No doubt. We talk about him on the Sports Coma. We give him credit.
He came a long way. These guys far from anybody who thinks Andrews Pete.
Well, it wasn't that long ago we had all those sports commentators and the writers here in New Orleans talking about that he's a bust because they're calling him what they were calling Stephon Anthony. I still say they was wrong about Stephon Anthony. But they were saying the same thing about Andrews Pete, not ignoring the fact. I don't think they were ignoring the fact, but not considering the fact that if they took you and moved you around to multiple positions at your job, would you doing well if you hadn't done them before? And the answer would be, of course not. So this is the kind of thing that happened to Andrews. He's playing left side, right side. When you allow him to settle in, he was able to do some stuff. And as you can see, he turned into a pretty good solid left guard.
What number of guys is this on injury reserve?
Quite a few guys.
Injury reserve, man.
You got a bunch of people. Alexander Loney, Delvin Bro, Colby Fleener, Garrett Griffin, John Hughes III, Tukaha, AJ Klein, Kuhn, Lasco, Mitchell Lowen, Perry, Zach Streif, who's been out, Nathan Stupar, Kenny Vaccaro is another big name that's there. But despite all these guys, then we didn't even equate Nick Fairley in that. That happened. That was the first early one that was there, and the Saints still in the playoffs in the divisional round, no doubt. So big ups to they talent there.
That's why I can't count this team out, and I think this is truly a magical bunch. They could go on and make this run because this is probably one of the most determined and motivated Saints squads I've ever seen.
No doubt about
and for them to be extremely young, and you have all these guys. You have a lot of guys starting right now. They were backups when we started the year, and they making it do what it do, baby. But you got anybody you want to give big ups to? I do. I'm gonna go ahead and give a big ups to the Saints special team unit.
Yeah. Special team unit. Okay.
Nobody talked about our special team unit.
Why would we give them big ups?
Well, we had Will Lutz hit a 57-yard field goal.
That's true.
a Saints playoff record after being one up a little bit by the Panthers for a 58-yarder. But that was amazing.
Morstead's among 4 punts for 183 yards.
That guy always shows up.
Pent one and inside the 20. So yeah,
gotta love that. Justin Hardy made a crucial special teams tackle in the first half of the game, and I don't remember any of the kick returners getting loose for maybe more than a 12-yard punt return. Man,
true.
the special teams did amazing today, and I just want to let y'all know we appreciate y'all here at the Sports Coma. We seen what y'all was doing, baby.
Might need them against Minnesota, so
we definitely gonna need them. Y'all might need to get us a touchdown.
Might be the special teams against Minnesota now.
We didn't do much returning the ball. Tommy Lee did okay. He had a few times where he could have broke loose, didn't quite got there.
Well, that wasn't Tommy Lee Lewis. That's Tommy Lee Jerry Lewis that was out there again.
Little Jerry Lewis. Yeah, he did his thing, man. And let's see, anybody else we want to give big ups to that we forgot? I'm trying to think. Sean Payton. Sean Payton called a hell of a game. He made some mistakes, like I said earlier, that play with Tommy Lee Lewis on, I think that was third down, ball let him throw it away, Sean Payton. We seen you do something like that a few times this year. It's not quite worked. I don't like that play on third down. But other than that, man, I can't say nothing bad about you, my bruh. Hats off to you, Sean Payton. Definitely big ups to him. And big ups to Tyron Armstead, man.
Oh, yeah!
I was actually a little leery. I didn't think he was going to make it through the full game. That guy stayed in there, and had a hell of an impact. So, this playoff/championship edition too early? Nah.
Well, perhaps. I won't jinx him.
Hey, and a lot of people don't know Cam Jordan actually said that the Saints were going to go to the Super Bowl. Maybe in July.
We're gonna play it on the next podcast. We're gonna dig that up and play it. Yeah.
He went on the NFL Network and said the Saints were gonna go to the Super Bowl.
I remember that. Yes, we're gonna play that.
So we can see Cam Jordan's a little out of his mind right now. He's intoxicated on confidence.
Yeah, Cam's a madman, but you can look at him and see he's a madman.
Maybe that's the reason why. I know if I made such lofty statements.
And of course, with our offense being as tremendous and as potent as it's been, as long as we step up and do our part, there's no reason why we can't win the Super Bowl, and that's what we're going for.
And I'm happy to have y'all listening. You know the show winding down. We getting to about that time, but this is a very special thing to be up in here talking sports.
Yes.
In January. Oh, we couldn't do this last year.
Big ups. Oh, speaking of which, brother, can I give my big ups? Two big ups right here I want to give. Von Bell, big ups to Von Bell. Von Bell's, of course, the leading tackle on the team. He showed up in this top game. He had 9 tackles, 7 solos, and 1 sack that really kind of put the game on nice. He had a very big game, him and Marcus Williams, but especially Von Bell, big ups to him. And Michael Thomas, man, I got to go back to Mike. He had 8 catches. He was thrown at 9 times, caught 8 of them, 131 yards. He didn't get a score, but he averaged about 16 yards a catch. So big ups to those brothers in those games. And back to you, DC.
Yeah, most definitely. I concur. So hopefully we go into Minnesota and handle our business. Hopefully. Wait. Ain't that what you told me? I said we was going to win. And he was like, oh, it's too soon. I start calling this the championship edition. You said, oh, not yet. I don't want to jinx it. Now you getting on me for saying hopefully? I think I'd have converted Big Q, yo.
We got one more show on Friday to do. We're going to kind of expand out on it. So.
You don't think I was going to tell the people that? Yeah, we going to see y'all next time on the championship. Maybe not yet. But the playoff/possible championship edition of the Sports Coma. We're going to interview the Minnesota Vikings, getting to the real dirt and grime. Meat and potatoes, goddammit. I was trying to think of something. But yeah, it's been lovely hosting the show today. Thank you, Big Q, for allowing me to be let off the chain. And I enjoyed speaking to the whole Sports Nation. I hope y'all enjoyed me. We're going to see y'all next time with DC from the Sports Coma. Big Q and the guy. Peace.
You're listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.